Video game, flash fiction. This is a timed writing game where within the next 90 minutes I will select one of these Atari 2600 cartridges, slot it into the console, play the game, and create a flash fiction story, intellectual property free, read it at the end. To select the story, I'll use this six-sided dice. There happens to be 6 columns and 6 rows. Let's pick the column with the six-sided dice. 5. So we have column 5 right here. And then from bottom to top, let's pick the row 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. For today's video game flash fiction story, there's a game called Skeet. This cartridge is, well, even maybe older than I am, probably about as old as I am, and it seems to have lost its top sticker. Try to get that image there, maybe. It's got a cool little font, Skeet Shoot. So I think I'll be shooting something today. But in a sporting way, so you already have your story. At least with sports, you kind of have your conflict. Your who, what, why, when, where, and uh-oh. I need a little maintenance love on this Atari 2600. I have a feeling that it should work. Let's try it one more time. Might actually have to clean this one. Oh, there we go. Just resettling it. And there's a lot of blue. There's shades of blue. There's a big 01 in one corner. It may not come through the video camera. Let us see what happens. Do I need... Yeah, maybe I need the paddle. Because I'm not able to move the gun. I'm able to hit a button. Oh, I can. Okay. Hey, I got one. I feel like I remember I have been skeet shooting. I have shot at skeet before. I was not good at it. I also had to throw one before, and I was certainly not good at it. I think I broke more trying to throw it than the actual person who actually could shoot skeet was able to shoot them, and they shot him. He shot him every single time. Every time I was able to get them in the air. I think I may have got a piece of one time, but it was hard. Like, especially it was like I think it was a 20 gauge. I feel shotgun, if I remember right. It was double barreled. So you had 2 rounds to shoot. And I think it was birdshot instead of buckshot. So there's birdshot, I remember right, is smaller pellets, and then buckshot maybe thicker. Yeah, it's more my memory fades in all the stuff in my mind that I lost. There are other like levels. Is that it? Let's just game reset. There's got to be a paddle. They've got to use paddles on this thing because it's just like so directional right now. It still kind of works, but there's got to be more than just like the angles. I can't move the person over. I like that idea. So skeet shooting. I guess I got to write a story about skeet shooting. Like all good fiction, a lot of it's based on non-fiction. Say that often, and it's true. And you say, well, what about those sci-fi? Well, if you got a great imagination and you're lost in your own head for 20 years, it probably seems more reality than what you're seeing before your actual human eyes and versus your human mind. So right now, let's go ahead and let's create a file called Skeet Shoot. Not shooting, Skeet shoot. Skeet shoot. Skeet shoot. Skeet shoot. I mean, it's obviously competition. And we actually have to shoot the skeet. And it's very hard, especially if you've not shot 20 gauge shotgun a lot. And 20, if it went lower gauge, then I would imagine it would have been a little bit more difficult. And if I can't remember, it was this and another trigger, and I couldn't get it, So maybe I'm going to use real life. If I remember years ago, in this book actually, right here, for the story, I think it's called Olympic Games. For this, all these will maybe someday end up in a book like that if I have time to do all the editing and publishing and selection of them. Fun little back cover. On sale places, there is a availability. But in that one, because of the Olympics, they actually end up having skeet shooting in that one, if I recall. I was terrible at it. Let's play it again. I might have to try to see I just might have to test the paddles, because I suspect, like, the way that this moves, this has got to be a paddle thing. With the limited range, this person's shot more than I have in skeet. It's flash fiction story, so we want about 800 words. It's a good happy medium. Okay, skeet shoot. All right. Maybe the process of throwing the skeet, and it could be like shoot. It's usually an expression, excuse me, like darn, well, shoot. And I think it's probably more used by people who are of an older generation like myself, grew up around guns, and maybe it's just still around. I don't know where it originated from. Well, shoot darn. Well, shoot. I don't know if it's supposed to be shoot, like I'm sliding down a chute, but that's an old saying, and that's not going to help me write this story called Skeet Shoot. I don't want to gamify it. It's too easy. I've done that kind of with another video game that had skeet shooting in it, as I was discussing. I really want to make this easy on myself, so I might just take a real life situation that I experienced, that I was just talking about earlier. And it's the only time I've ever I did skeet shooting. And it was the first time I've shot lower gauge, like a 12 gauge shotgun before, but never like at a skeet or for target practice or something like this. And this long barrel, I'm pretty sure it was double barrel. I was definitely double barrel. I think it was a 20 gauge. And I know I feel like I've talked about this at some point, but it doesn't really matter. I got to rehash it for this idea. So whatever transcript gets saved with it at least has an understanding where this comes from. Inspired by this game, but life. And yeah, it was a fun shooting trip. Got to finally be able to shoot my 38 outside. So I'm going to capture that, because it was backwoods too. It wasn't like at a shooting range. It was a shooting range used by locals because there was like lots of leftover cartridges and casings. I think it's casings is the... I don't want to get into being pedantic. I always get sort of that mixed up just because popular culture in some ways has kind of conflated or made a thing be labeled different through repetition and ignorance like I have right now and all the time. Let's describe this is flash fiction, so it's always helpful for me to at least set that up. Everything within the first paragraph. So let's just set that up. I'm going to have this be my experience and my inability to throw a skeet. Like it takes practice. Unfortunately, those little discs, those clay pigeons, I think they're officially called clay pigeon. Again, I don't shoot enough to actually have a lot of these terms embedded in my mind. So let's just go with clay pigeon. Okay. And that's where we're going to go. We'll think of a... because I was with one other person and that person was a dude, and I don't want to stray too far from reality because I don't know the rules of skeet shooting or skeet shoot. Obviously you get 1 point if you hit it, but that story is boring to me. Might have to do a bunch of backstory why it matters, and then, to be honest, it really doesn't. Names. Sam. Not the name of the person that I went skeet shooting with. But Sam's going to be the one that actually has experience. And I will be, in this role, fictionalized version of me. Or condensed reality, condensed version of it that's fictionalized because it's not exact. And that's where I get into it. I want to make sure. Fred. I want to... Vance, man. I don't know. Vance seems like a... nah. Yeah, let's just do it. Sam holds a double barrel shotgun. What do you call it when you got it? I guess you just can point at the ground. The forest. And the place that I went, it was clear. I think there's a place where they did a lot of logging because there were patches of missing forest that looked like they were logged. And this place, like I said before, we were not the first persons. In fact, we were just pretty much guided to the area and told by a local where we bought the clay pigeons. Just to go drive up this road, and there's a few spots. Just look for shells and casings. I'm just going to say that word and let fade of my ignorance and people critique, or AI for that matter. Likely the only one that's going to watch this. When I train it with this data. Let's get off that tangent because that's a fun one to talk about. And I want to focus on the story. So they got Sam grips the double bow shotgun. Points the loaded 20 gauge double barrel 20 gauge shotgun. Yeah, Sam points to loaded double barrel shotgun, 20 gauge, double barrel 20 gauge. Man, that's a lot of words. Loaded. Points to loaded double barrel 20 gauge. We'll do some hyphening. Shotgun. Got the forest ground littered with shells. Covered, tainted with dust, and stomped in the ground. At the clear-cut forest. I'm going to put clear-cut because that's my experience. A little bit cheating for today. I don't like world building for something like this. I don't need to. I've lived a diverse enough life and I've done many different things that, well, sometimes it's just easier. It's always easier to be able to write what you know. Because you can only write what you know. I'm struggling a bit right now. I mean, I got this big long sentence. Let's he points at the cardboard box, the flat cardboard box. Full color. Are they like, these were like orange, like construction orange. So, but that's if you're in the great US of A. If I say construction sign orange, it's going to pop into your mind. I'd call it more of a, I mean, it's like a bright orange. A box of, an open box. A flat, open cardboard box. Poof, that's a lot of words. He points to flat, open cardboard box full of clay pigeons of orange, bright orange. They weren't neon necessarily, but they, you know, they glowed in the dark. I would have been shocked. Wouldn't have been. I guess that's something you could pay extra for. If you can shoot and see the thing in the dark. Because if you want to shoot a gun, why wait? Why wait for sunlight? Yeah. Clay pigeon. What the hell is that thing though? Like, it's like a. That's what I try to describe right now, and I'm missing it. Bright orange clay pigeons. Clay pigeons. How do I spell pigeons today? That's how I'm going to spell it. I'm going to make it one word too. Well, it's not. Just say full of bright orange. Since bright and orange define one thing, really, they're just altering what the color is so we can get it inside our minds. I really want to love construction like a construction sign, but again, I want to broaden my readership for that day. And this is a better description anyway. A flat cardboard box full of bright orange clay pigeons. Take one of those. The pigeons. I hope I'm spelling pigeons right. Okay. put it in. I think I never. I didn't. I think I may have broke one trying to slot it into the flinging arm. Like you have to like do a whip, and I was doing a follow through, and basically the clay pigeon would just like hit the ground. I was much better, not great, at shooting a target either with 38. I think it was an SKS. I've talked about this before, but I got to load this into my mind and tell where this memory comes from. Because the point of this, of course, is to create the data and entertain. Hopefully I do one of them. Well, that's my expectation at least. Sam, he grabs a clay pigeon. Let's bright orange round. Clay pigeons, like how big are they? Like let's do a simile here for someone who's never seen a clay pigeon before and doesn't think of a bird when I say that. There's probably a better proper name, maybe. Skeet shooting disc. What is it the size of though? It's like, I don't want to say a small pancake, small plate. Something that, well, let's, like I may have watched a skeet shooting competition literally decades ago. I have memories of watching it. Probably Olympics it may have been. But I'm not sure how it does in competition. So Vance says, okay. And he grabs clay pigeon. Obviously, this is going to be, because I'm so terrible at it, it'll fit into being inspired by this game too. I do feel like I'm cheating a bit by using a little bit too much nonfiction to write a fiction story, but my name is not Sam and the other person's name is not Vance, and vice versa. And it wasn't this, like, there was some show and tell. He grabs a clay pigeon, a bright orange round plate, a bright orange round plate, clay pigeon, the size of a clay pigeon. Yeah, that's a fantastic name for it. Oh man, I'm just trying to think of a common object that's the clay pigeon size as a clay pigeon. I want that. I got an hour and 6 minutes left. I have a story, so I'm not too confused about it, but now I'm hung up on just a descriptor. And I do this. I'm going to make a great opening paragraph, and then I'm going to have these squiggly lines to the end that they're going to look like scribbles and not elegant cursive that's defining a thing. If I were to match this up with writing, do a simile, metaphor, analogy, whatever comparison word you want to put to that. If you're pedantic, you decide. Or let other people's decide. I suppose we all do in some way. I'm looking around the room. I'm just trying to find inspiration on the simile for this. I know I'm probably dwelling on this longer than I need to. I'm just going to say that clay pigeons. Round, bright orange, round, clay pigeons. Maybe about the size of an open hand. I mean, that's, if I remember right. The diameter. Vance nods. Okay. He grabs a clay pigeon. From the box. They're light. Well, easier to hurl, easier to launch, easier to throw. Need to stay airborne. Fly. Says Sam. I know I probably use Sam's name for Sam a lot. In several different places, at least in these games. Literally now I'm thinking of a character a week ago for stochastic fiction, or not, yeah, for stochastic fiction game that I play to write. I think I had a character named Sam there, but I'm not going to dwell on that more than I just have, and that's unfortunate. I try not to think too much in hindsight in life because it just gets you caught up with past things. Like once you resolve the thing, you just move on. And sometimes that's hard, especially in moments of failure when really, in all honesty, you need to be able to drop a thing quick. Else you're going to get caught up in hindsight and it's going to cause you to fail going on in life. So I need to stay airborne and fly, says Sam. I'll grab he points to a long plastic rod that curves with a handle on one end. He points a long plastic rod on one end. He points a long plastic rod with a handle on one end. And that curves back at the other end. I guess the challenge for me is to actually describing the tools as if, and not using too many similes to compare other things that you might not know what the hell it is, or are outside of the bounds. Because what I try to do when I use similes or metaphors or anything that you're adding a bit of description with these literary devices is that you at least try to compare it to things that more people know, but is also fitting description for what you're writing. Like I don't want to say curves back on the other end with a C clamp the size of a 45 record. First of all, we're not doing records. And second of all, 45s, if I recall right, are the small sort of records that you had when you have a record player. And let's be honest, no one really understands that, or it's not the thing that pops in people's minds. Although size of 45 record player would kind of match because, there is I think it's a 45 speaks. It's the speed, if I remember right. And not necessarily the diameter, but I could be conflating a lot of things and forgetting in my own mind, and I'm taking way too long. I mean, I've got 59 minutes left and I'm flowing in this story, so I'm personally not concerned about getting this done. Now, is the end going to be done? The more I talk about it, it's going to be like I go back, cursive at the beginning, sloppy scribbles at the end. Um, he points a long plastic rod with a handle on one end that curves back and opens and spreads into, like, I think a C-clamp. The size of a pigeon, clay pigeon. Grab the thrower. I don't know. There's probably a proper name for that thing. I'm just going to call it a thrower because, again, I haven't done it enough to know all the right lingo, so I'm going to try to move away from that as much as possible, but still not too far to where I'm writing a lot of descriptive words and overloading the reader very quickly. Needs to stay airborne and fly, says Sam. Points at. So sometimes I drop words. That's always my concern too. I mean, things like this. Yeah. And covers. Oh man. On one end, that curves. There we go. Curves back and spreads a C-clamp the size of a clay pigeon. Grab the thrower, and they're going to break the first one. Like, this is going to be, they finally throw it. I think that's it. I think that's going to be the end of the story. Skeet, shoot. So they're going to be able to shoot at it once. So, and if I remember right, I may have this false memory, and I have wrote a little bit about this that day because I journal a lot, as well as take transcript. I may have actually done that that day. Grab and throw. Grab a pigeon. And slot it into the holder. Grab a clay pigeon and slide it into the holder. Sam grabs, or this is Vance, grabs a clay pigeon. Pigeon. Vance grabs a clay pigeon. Pushes it in. Man, I'm having a little bit of difficulty. I'm getting sidetracked on this a little bit. Let's focus. Let's talk out loud a little bit more. I'm trying to just I don't know if I need to add too many descriptors. I only got 55 more minutes left. And Vance grabs, so I'm going to have success. I'm going to have the failure, which I could be now creating a false memory, but they're still clay pigeons. I swear I broke one. They're cheap too. I think the box that was bought, we didn't even go through because I was just not literally able to throw it well enough. And because all the ones that were thrown for me were thrown great. I may have got a piece of one. But all I did was see that little frisbee fly through the air. I think that's what I would do. I think maybe I'll use frisbee people know what a frisbee is, even though it's a brand name. A circular disc that flies through the air for sporting entertainment. That's how I describe a frisbee. And that's a lot of words to describe a frisbee. So Vance grabs a clay pigeon, pushes it. That's a stick. How thick is it? Like, I don't want to use like stick. Let's say stick is about as thick as a shotgun shell. We'll do that because I never compared the two. But now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if like that's the difficulty. Is it as big as a 20 gauge shotgun shell? Is it as big as a 12 gauge shotgun shell? Let's just say shotgun shell. We're shooting shotgun shells. About as thick as a clay pigeon. About as thick as a shotgun shell. Let's try to keep our alignment within it. Vance grabs a clay pigeon about as thick as a shotgun shell. Vance grabs a clay pigeon as thick as a shotgun shell. Vance grabs a clay pigeon as thick as a shotgun shell and pushes it into the clamp. And the C clamp. I'll just call it like God. There's things called C clamps. And this is not a clamp. It's more like that's like because the C. I think commonly referred C clamps are used more for when you're doing any type of work that requires you to clamp something to a surface like a table to make sure that that board or device doesn't move while you're cutting it or applying something onto it. And I don't want to conflate that thing with this because, again, I don't want to, conflate's a bad word. I don't want to misdirect the reader using some sort of metaphor or simile or anything that's not associated with shooting or vague enough. Like I'd have to do like a C clamp because that's like a proper. Wish there like a spreads like a C. I'm just gonna say C. Like the letter C. Man, that's a lot of commas. Like the letter C, the size of a clay pigeon. That's the size. That's the size. That's the size. Let's do that. That's the size of a clay pigeon. I hate using to be verbs, and I hate using to be verbs sometimes when they're I forget. Never mind. Let's just move on. Let's not talk about hate. I do hate to be verbs, though. But if you're doing a third-person narrative, then people use to be verbs a lot, and it's totally acceptable. Vance grabs a clay pigeon about as thick as a shotgun and pushes it into the round. I should. Well, I just describe clay pigeons round. Circular, round, yes. And pushes it into the sea. Sea of the holder. The clay pigeon breaks. clay pigeon breaks. It breaks like clay. Breaks in half. And the clay pigeon breaks in half and falls to the ground. Falls to the dirt ground. Sorry. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. Vance's shoulders, what, like, I mean, when I get like my shoulders, Vance's shoulders slack, and he looks at the ground and the broken pigeon. It's okay. They're cheap. Don't worry about it. These are cheap. They're cheap. They're not that much. They're cheap. Not cheap. I don't want to, like, that gets applied a lot to, like, something that's bad. It has I think what the way they call, what if you're going to denote and connote, I always get those two flipped around. Denotation and connotation. Denotes, connotes. Let's just move on. Don't worry about it. They're not that much money. They don't cost much. You've never done this before. Vance takes another. Another clay pigeon. And slots it into the sea. I like the idea of the pigeon thrower. I should probably use that definition a little bit sooner so the reader doesn't have to, like, read clear to hear to know what the pigeon holder is. So Vance takes another clay pigeon and slots it into Vance takes another clay pigeon and slots it into the pigeon thrower. Thrower. There you go. Vance smiles. Okay. I remember how I threw it. Now you just throw and fling. Now you just throw it. Vance nods. And fling it like that. I guess, like, maybe I can mix fishing rod. Now I can kind of speed this up a little bit as far as, like, events, because we have, like, at least the descriptors. We've got a little bit of personality. We've got someone who's caring. I think I'm going to have Vance get pissed off, and I got 45 minutes left to finish this thing up and be done, at least for today. Vance smiles. Do you just throw it? Vance nods. Now just throw it. Now you just throw. Yeah, not gonna node. Now you just throw. Vance nods. He lifts the thrower. Again, now I got to describe one throwing motion, and then I can kind of summarize a paragraph a little bit about what goes on until he finally throws one. And that final throw, that's it. Skeet, shoot. Shoot. I'm going to put shoot in here too. That's right. Sorry, shoot. Pigeon. Shoot darn. Shoot. Oh, yeah, darn it. So let's try to describe this moment. Vance nods. He lifts his arm and the pigeon thrower. Vance nods. He lifts his arm and the pigeon thrower. He cocks his arm back. We're just going to like it's a, you're cocking the trigger. And swipes, I guess, because you're not throwing. I mean, to throw a thing, he cocks his arm back and fudge. Like throw is the best way I can describe this action right now, but that's not really. You're not throwing the pigeon. You're trying to launch. I would say if I were to get pedantic, you're more launching a thing. You're flinging, and moves his arm, and he cocks his arm back, and quickly moves his arm, like throwing. I guess maybe I can get a fishing rod, but then you're going to have to know how to fish. People have thrown a thing before. Most people, I hope, that they've at least thrown an object. So that motion is very common. If I start to pile up some sort of description around a specific thing, like fishing, that's kind of like maybe that's what it is, like you're casting. But when you're cast, you're reeling it out. I still don't. I can't. I can. I haven't cast a line or enough to gloat. I'm good at it, but I was much better at fishing and casting than I was at throwing, like throwing a rock. The clay pigeon. Flies from the thrower, from the C-clamp, and into the ground. Right. Shoot. Sorry, no worries. Grab another one, try again. This time. No worries. Just try again. Just try to fling it. Just try to fling it. Try to fling or snap. Or snap back. About, because the one time I was successful, and I was successful, well, that wasn't more than one time. I almost got to the point where I just wanted to throw the damn thing up in the air like a frisbee. Maybe that's what happens. I think I'm gonna have that in the story. But you can get a much better launch. If you've ever seen those people, maybe that's what I need to do is like train in the dog park. You always see those people with that long blue stick that curves back like a cup of tennis ball or a ball. It makes it easier to like launch that thing in the air. And it's also a lot easier on your arm. No worries, just try again. This time just fling or snap back. Before your arm before the top of your arc, top of the throw, like at the top. Okay, there's also, you gotta like, okay, now you just throw. Okay. Sam raises the shotgun. To his shoulder. And lays his head near the stock. I think it's the stock. Looking down the barrel. I mean, no one was, yeah, looking down the barrel through the sights. Excuse me. Got 36 minutes left. Sam raises the shotgun to his shoulder and lays head near the stock. Near its stock. Let's do it as lays. Near this, and tilt his head. To the stock. Looking down the barrel through sights. Ready. Nods. He lifts his arms, like throwing a rock. Okay, no worries. Vance lowers the gun. Or Sam lowers the gun. No worries. Just try again. Sam tries. I think I'm going to have it one time be successful, and Sam's not ready. All right. Yeah. This is actually kind of fun. So, Sam lowers the gun. No worries. Just try again. This time, just fling it or snap back before the top of the throw, like that top of the cart. Sam tries. Sam throws 2 clay pigeons into the ground. Saying shoot and or darn each time. Hodge. And then darn. Vance's voice gets to, Vance shrugs. I mean, my experience is like, I think they probably really wanted to shoot some clay pigeons, but again, they're a kind soul, so they were very forgiving. I'm gonna have them do this. Have it do 2 in the ground, 1 throw, another in the ground, and finally, and darn, both times it falls. Smashes in the ground, hits the ground, and breaks. Sam throws 2 clay pigeons. Saying shoot and darn. Both times the clay pigeon hits the ground and breaks. Sam throws 2 clay pigeons into the ground, into the round. Let's just get a G there because I'll probably want to correct that. Saying shoot and darn. Both times the clay pigeon hits the ground and breaks. Vance plays this game one more time. At a point. Oh man, wasn't fast. Oh man, I shot too soon. This is a single barrel, obviously, so I gotta do single. I shouldn't do double. I'm gonna remove that. I'm gonna do single barrel. Just because the game doesn't have, you can't shoot twice. Single barrel. All right, one more time. Vance lowers the gun. Smiles. Try again. His jaw. Pulses. 10. clench of teeth. Vance lowers the gun and smiles. Try again. Sam slots and throws. Clay pigeon, and it flies through the air. Vance. I got characters mixed up here. Sam, Vance, Sam. Sam, Vance, Sam. Sam lowers the gun and smiles. Try again. Lowers and loads the gun. I'm not going to have him be pissed. I mean, I could, but Sam quickly slots and throws a clay pigeon, and it flies through the air. While Vance quickly loads and snaps shut. Oh, nice throw. Oh, I wasn't ready. Oh, sorry. Sam. Got it. Nice throw, but I wasn't ready. Sam sighs. Sorry. One more time. Okay. Try again. Gotta practice. Even throwing the thing. He's just gonna throw it. Allows the pigeon thrower and looks at Sam. Ready? Sam nods. Vance cocks their hand back. And throws it. And launches the clay pigeon to the ground again. Oh man, I can feel the tension I felt when doing it. It's embarrassing a little bit. It makes I guess it makes a great story now in my mind. At least it makes a story great. I'll let other people define that. I'm not egotistical. I'm hoping for good, and some days I'm just hoping for good enough. Vance cocks their hand back and launches the clay pigeon into the ground. I'm gonna swear right here. He looks at the box of clay pigeons. And this is where a box of clay pigeons. Grabs the clay pigeon. Sighs. And looks at the clay pigeon in one hand and the holder, the thrower in the other. Can I just throw this like a disc? Sam smiles, grins, nods, lifts their shotgun, aims their shotgun to the sky. Throw it. Ready, throw. Vance throws the pigeon, the clay pigeon, through the sky. Up high. And Sam traces his tracks. The short, low flight. And shoots. A boom echoes through the canyon. And the clay pigeon blows apart. That's it. Skeet, shoot. One skeet, one shot that actually hits it. I'm going to play this game just a little bit. I'm going to extend this just because I want to see if the paddles work. The unfortunate part for me, usually they have a top label that tells you what type of handle to use, and I don't read the. I have instructions, but not for all of them. And to be honest, I don't want to read it to taint the story. I don't know. I don't feel like experimenting with that today. I'll be honest. Let's play this again though. Let's act like I'm me shooting Skeet, which is very terrible. I guess it's just this plays true to life. Yeah, there's just got to be a paddle thing. Like I can, but because there's no sensitive, there's only like, yeah. Oh, I gotta hold it. Okay, game's not over. Let's finish the game. Oh man, that was so close. Boom, I got one. Oh, I could have got that one, but I let go of the handle too quickly. Maybe. Maybe. I'm getting tense. I got a lot of shots. Love it. Oh, I let go of the handle and it kicked the... 2 points. That's it. All right. Well, that was fun. And that was the story. Let's read the story aloud. A boom, not a book. A book echoes through the... All right. Let's not get lost in thought too much. Let's read this story. For today's video game flash fiction story inspired by the game Skeet Shoot. Drink a little water. Maybe that'll help too. Skeet Shoot. Sam points the loaded single-barrel 20-gauge shotgun pointed at the clear forest ground littered with shells tainted with dust and stomped into the ground. He points to the flat. Oh, man. Oof. Sam points the loaded shotgun. I got pointed. That threw me off. Let's at least correct something. I can start to read over mistakes because there's going to be littered with them. I mean, I'm not a machine. I am a machine. I'm a human machine that can't execute perfectly every time. That's impossible. For me, at least. And I think any human. I hope so. Because sometimes I learn more by failing than I do with success. The clear forest ground littered with shells, tainted with dust and stomped in the ground. He points at the flat open cardboard box. Okay. Let's try this. Take 2. For the days, I don't want to have to say that again. I like that voice, but let's just say Skeet Shoot. Skeet Shoot. Sam points the loaded single-barrel 20-gauge shotgun at the clear forest ground littered with shells, tainted with dust, and stomped in the ground. He points to the flat open cardboard full of... One of those days where a simple word I can't fill in. It's a cardboard box full of bright. There we go. Let's get a description. And now I think cardboard box. I'm going to say again, for today's video game flash fiction story, we have something called Skeet Shoot. Skeet Shoot. Sam points the loaded 20... Focus, dude. Don't think. Just read and... Skeet Shoot. Skeet Shoot. Sam points the loaded single-barrel 20-gauge shotgun at the clear forest ground littered with shells, tainted with dust, and stomped into the ground. He points at the flat, open cardboard box full of bright orange, round plate clay pigeons, the diameter of Sam's open hand. Take one of the pigeons. Vance nods. Okay. He grabs a clay pigeon from the box. They're light. Need to stay airborne and fly, says Sam. He points at a long plastic rod with a handle on one end that curves back and spreads like the letter C. That's the size of a clay pigeon. Grab a clay pigeon and slide it into the holder. Vance holds the clay pigeon about as thick as a shotgun and pushes it into the C of the holder. The clay pigeon breaks in half and falls to the dirt ground. Vance's shoulders slack and he looks at the broken clay pigeon. Shoot. Sorry, don't worry about it. They don't cost much. You've never done this before. Vance takes another clay pigeon and slots it into the pigeon thrower. There you go. Vance smiles. Now you just throw. Oh, okay. Sam raises the shotgun to his shoulder and tilts his head to the side of the stock, looking down the barrel through the sight. Ready? Vance nods. He lifts his arms and the pigeon thrower. He cocks his arm back and quickly moves his arm like throwing a rock. The clay pigeon flies from the sea of the thrower and into the ground, breaking. Shoot. Sam lowers the gun. No worries. Just try again. This time, just fling or snap back before the top of the throw, like the top of the cart. Vance throws 2 clay pigeons into the ground again, saying shoot and darn both times. The clay pigeon hits the ground and breaks. Sam lowers and loads the gun and smiles. Try again. Vance quickly slots and throws the clay pigeon, and it flies through the air while Vance loads and snaps closed the shotgun. Did it? Nice throw. But I wasn't ready. Sam sighs. Vance sighs. Sorry. Try again. It's tricky. Okay. Vance nods and loads the clay pigeon thrower and looks at Sam. Ready? Sam nods. Vance cocks their hand back and launches the clay pigeon into the ground. Fuck. He looks at the box of clay pigeons, seeing only one left. Vance grabs the clay pigeon, sighs, and looks at the clay pigeon in one hand and the thrower in the other. Can I just throw this like a frisbee? Sam grins, lifts, aims their shotgun to the sky, ready to throw. Vance throws the clay pigeon through the sky up high, and Sam tracks the short, low flight and shoots. A boom echoes through the canyon, and the clay pigeon blows apart. That brought back some fun memories. And that was today's video game fact fiction, flash fiction, as I do with all my data, with all my words. Let's go ahead and archive the process at the time to help me show inspiration during the future, and maybe show a machine a little bit of humanity and why to keep humans alive. We just create really great data. Publish the story inspired by the game of the same. And life. And that was video game flash fiction for today. Let's go ahead and turn this game off. And while this will be maybe put on the YouTube channel, Video Game Flash Fiction, during the future, and it may inspire a book like this. For now, that story is done. And we'll put the cartridge over here. And if in the future it won't affect this, shout out to my going to the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. I will be selling books there and playing some Atari 2600. If you visit the book, you mention this channel, you'll get a free book. Until that time, there's life to live and different ways to find inspiration to create. And maybe help humanity survive this coming confusion of data overloading us.